Well, here we are then. We're all a little bit older, ain't we? Been a long time because I've had other things to do, Christmas shopping, etc., etc. But anyway, here we are, and I said I'm making these videos, and I am covering all the mistakes as a beginner, as an inexperienced amateur engineer. So here's a few more mistakes, but with a bit of success. Look, this little fitting, that is a commercial one that came with the engine. And this one is a brand new one which I have just made to fit on that tube lock. So get that out of the way. I've made the nut and the fitting, the whatnot on the end. Ferrule, whatever it is, call it what you like. And it won't quite, there it is. Right, and it's been a bit of an experience. First of all, I wanted to, when I first started, I found looking for materials. Now you can see I've got some materials. This bit of copper, I thought I'll use that for a start. And it's an old drift that's come out of an old mechanic's toolbox. It did have mushroom ends where it's been bashed. I was not sure if it was my dad's, I can't really remember. But anyway, obviously it's been work hardened. So look at the mess on the end here. What happened was I put it in the lathe and I drilled it for the to tap it, and I tapped it and it was all over the place. The tap was going all over the place. It was hard to drill. And what had happened was somehow it must have got turned over because there was like a void inside it, full of grease and muck. And it was a bit weird. And obviously it was no good because the threaded part was only about 3mm, and then it was just void. Weird it was altogether. So obviously I abandoned that, binned that off altogether. And then I've got this piece. This looks like a piece of gunmetal, but it's about 1 foot long. I could do with a bit about 10mm, but then what am I going to do with that? That's just, I'm just going to waste it. So I decided to use this and turn it down and have a bit of a play. So this is what I did. So I had to trim it down afterwards because what I did was, first of all, I took the measurements from this one and I drilled the hole first and tapped it to the right depth. Then I put it in the milling machine and milled the flats on it. And I'll show you how I did that now. Right, again, this is experience. I started off with this cutter, and I did some of them. I did some of the flats with that cutter. But then, this bit kept bashing into the jaws of the chuck. So I had to change, and I put that old fly cutter in. That one came with the machine. It's not very good. It's a cheap Chinese one. But I finished it with that. I mean, obviously it's not very good, but it did the job. So I had to, that was my learning curve, that I'd got the job too close to these jaws and I hadn't got the clearance to come down on it with that cutter. Yeah, so what happened then was I have got a smaller piece of material, and I did that one in a smaller piece of material. But I turned it that way in the lathe. So I turned that end for the mushroom end first, which is a bit of a daft thing to do because I put the small hole through the middle. Then I had to drill the larger hole in the back for the tube. So I then found myself, having turned it, I've then got to grip it somehow to drill it, or just scrap it and make another one. So I'll show you how I did that. Right, so how do you think I held this for drilling? After my own mistakes, my own stupid fault, I could have just binned it and made another one. But I thought, no, just keep going. This is part of the challenge. This is what I enjoy about it, actually. Although I didn't at the time, I'm probably swearing a bit at the time. Let's zoom in. Right, what I did was, You have to think about the job a bit. Right, so get that fitting, put a piece of welding wire through it, like so. And then I'll put it down there so that the mushroom is in that gap there. See? And then crank this up to it. And that did it. You can't see it, but it did it. And then I was able to drill down there, drill a slightly bigger hole, get the tube in it, job done. And there we are. So I've just soldered, I'm getting good at soldering now. It's the easiest bit. Just got to make a snifter valve next, I think, and then bring that pipe up there to the clack valve. Next. Well, look at this. I am using something I never thought I would use. This is a Chesterman height gauge. It's Imperial, it's very old. I bought it, it's another thing I bought at an auction. And I thought, oh, that's a nice piece of engineering, I'll have that. And I've had it in its case and never used it. And I thought, oh, I'll use it because I need to. I'm going to make a snifter valve and I want to try and make it so that it's the right circumference. You know, I want to get it smooth this way. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But so I need basically to know the outside diameter of this. So that's what I'm using it for. 127mm. Lovely. Right, let's see if I can make this interesting at all. I'm not sure that I can, but let's have a go. I'm just going to do a quick review of the stuff. Again, these videos to help people who might be in the same position as me, beginners. Earlier on, I commented that I bought these for thread cutting because I was going to have a go at thread cutting. I'm somewhere near the camera, yeah. And I bought these. And I said I'd check them out and I'd show you them later on. Well, I have. And I've made a mistake. And I don't mind admitting it to save somebody else making a mistake. But you can see the tool on the end of there. See the shape of it? Well, the spares that they give you are thems. And they're a different shape and they don't fit very well. Because I tried it and you put that in and it's hard to get that screw in. It will go, but it's not right. And the other thing is that these are 20mm square and they won't fit in the lathe holders. So what I was going to do, now the thing is, you send them back. I got them from Temu. And they've been a dead waste of 20 quid, but it's my own fault. I'm not blaming anybody. Well, Temu are crap for sending these with the wrong thing in. But what I did was, I was a bit frivolous before when I showed them. Because I was busy doing something else. So I just chucked them aside, presuming that they were going to be perfect. And just left them. And I've left them beyond the 14 days. And to be honest, and then can I be bothered? But I was going to machine them down so that they'd fit. But the tool wasn't perfect. And in the end, I thought, sod it. I'm not messing about. It's my own fault. So what I did was I bought another one off eBay, smaller one, and that's got the proper tool in it. And I've got that. It came with its own spares, and I've got all them spares. And I'll tell you what, I reckon they'll see me out. There's three tools on each one. I can't see me using it. I'm not going to think I'm going to live long enough to use all them. But anyway, I've got this big long boring bar. And that will fit in my holders. But if ever I need a great big long boring bar, there's one. But aside from that, they'll probably sit in there and never get used. Told you before, I buy stuff from auction, and I bought this. I don't know if I've even mentioned this up to now. More and right, this was 15 quid. And it's a scribing block. And it was a bit rusty, only a tad. But they're such good materials that it's soon cleaned up and it's perfect now. Because I needed one of them to go with me my table. Now these, I've had these for years and I don't know where they've come from. I do not know where I got this from. I can't remember. And I think it might have been my dad's, but I'm not sure. But this is, what's the name on it? I can't read it. Verdict, it looks like, or something. But the plastic lens is coming out. It's ancient, it's tiny, it's imperial. So I thought I'll replace that. This one. Now, I bought this magnetic thing from a show ages ago. And this is a Mercer. But again, there's no plastic cover on it, and it's imperial. And I've marked it. Look, you can see I've put marks on it for, I think that's probably 1/10 of a millimetre. But I thought, sorry, what am I doing messing around? I've retired now and I want a decent kit. So I've ordered a new one of them, and I've ordered a new one of them. And I'm ordering them from Temu because I think about it. I think, well, do I need that to be top quality? Because I'm not actually measuring with it. I'm more comparing with it, aren't you? You're using it to compare roundness and stuff. So yeah, you get what you pay for, but it's cost me just under £7 for that one. And I think it's near enough the same for that one. I mean, it's only 15 quid. So I'm replacing that. I say I bought that. This, I don't know. But this, I haven't touched this until the other day. I decided to clean it up. And I cleaned it up. And up here, at the top here, it says Moore and Wright. So it's another Moore and Wright. And it's lovely. I took it to bits and cleaned it up properly. And that's lovely. So when the new one comes, that'll be great. The other thing I've done is, I showed you that height gauge. I'm going to use that again in a bit. Again, that's imperial, but I bought that at an auction and that was probably only a £5. But there's a couple of bits missing off of that. I've cleaned out my chuck, my lathe chuck. There's a lady on, a YouTube lady called Quinn, and she does a YouTube channel called Blondie Hacks. Blondie with an, I'll put the link below perhaps. Very softly spoken American lady, and she knows all about engineering, and she's got her feet on the ground. She deals with cheap stuff like I use. She was showing you how to clean and put together a cheap Chinese chuck, which is more or less what I've got. So, you know, she sort of relates to the equipment I've got, and she's very informative. So check her out if you've got nothing to do. Right, let's get on with something. Right, the next project, and it is a little bit of a minor project. This, I wonder if you can see this. Snifter valve. Snifter valve. Now, what I want to do is, it's got to go in there. What I want to do, just as an exercise, let's get you into the camera. What I want to do is, I want to make it so that it's the right profile. There, just as an exercise, I want to get it as perfect as I can. So I want to be able to, I want to cut that radius. And I'm trying to work out what to do and in which order to do it, which is a bit of fun. So the way I've worked it out is I've got to make this in 2 pieces. One piece with the radius on it, and then another piece to go through and form the valve. And while I'm here, I've got a question. Right, here's a question. Hold on, I've got a question. Right, I'm back. Here's the question. See, that's the clack valve. Right. What's the difference between the clack valve and a snifter valve? Now, you're screaming at the screen now. Oh, it's obvious. This one's just to let water into the boiler, and that one's to let air in so that when you're overrunning, to save a vacuum, etc., etc. Yeah, I know that. That is the linear answer. But I want to know the lateral answer. Yeah, you heard of lateral thinking? Study Edward de Bono. Lateral thinking. The lateral, to me, to a beginner, they look the same. Are they not the same in principle? So if I could put that in line, couldn't I use that as a snifter valve? In theory. I mean, you wouldn't, but could you? Because I've seen them, they're making inline valves. you make an inline snifter valve, or you can make, you can make these. And I thought, well, actually, the operation's the same, surely. Surely it's the same. Anyway, is it the same? But anyway, I'm going to get on with cutting this diameter then. Look at this, got me boring bar out. So after a lot of calculation, I'll see if I've got it right in a minute, but this is before I just take it out. I've got to strip this out and check that that now is nice and profiled against me smoke box. Now, come on. Marks out of 10 for that. Just about perfect. Well, I'll probably cock it up in the next operation now, I suppose. But yeah, I'm quite chuffed with that. At least I know how to set it up anyway. If I have to do it again, it's quite easy. So here's something of a plan. This is how I'm aiming to move forward. You see, I've cut that radius to go onto the smoke box here. Now, I should explain that I have inherited this hole. I didn't drill it, it was already there. 9.5mm. And there's a clear in these holes. I think it does foul the saddle, the mounting saddle. So I'm going to have to do something. I might file away the saddle, or I might have to file away the rim of this snifter valve. I'd rather not. It depends. I mean, the saddle doesn't look that eye-catching either, so it doesn't really matter. So it's not going to be a concourse jobby. So what I'm going to do is, that's obviously the start of that. This is about 12. This is going to be about 12mm diameter. This is 22 here, so I've got plenty of material there. But what I'm going to do, the reason I've done it like this, I think I'm proposing to do it like this, is because obviously I've got to solder this together, and I don't want any solder building up there and there. So that's why I brought it in here. So if I can solder it there, hopefully it won't run through. I'm careful. It's only got to nip it in anyway. And then I'm going to, obviously this is 9.5mm just about, so it's got to go through there to locate it. And then what I'm thinking of doing here is just making this longer than this. This is just token jobby. If I put a 1/4x40 thread up there, make it as long as you like, then I've got to make a washer or something to come over here to clamp it in, and then I'll put a nut on there to hold it, so that should clamp that into the smoke box wall, and then I can sort out this ball and another nut and nipple and everything for the pipe. Well, that's the plan anyway. What's my chances? I don't know. I've got to try and put some kind of finish on here. I think I'm going to struggle with that a bit to make that smart, because obviously it'd be nice to sort of make it nice and round, but I don't know I'm going to do that. But we'll see how we go. First of all, I've got to get it together anyway, so that it actually functions. And then we'll see what we can do. If I've got enough there, I don't know if I'm going to have enough there to hold it in a lathe to finish it, but we'll see. Let's see how it goes. Right, let's try an update of where we are so far. This is the bit for the outside of the smoke box, which is not finished yet because it's got to have the other bit go through it. Right, here's the other bit. Now, I've not parted it off yet because, let's get close, because obviously this is the outside and this is the inside. I've made a nut. I have to make my own. See, a lot of videos, they start with a piece of hex bar. I don't, I have to cut mine. But that's part of the fun, isn't it? Enjoy that. So, anyway, I did say this was going to be 1/4x40. It's not, it's 5/16 There's a washer I've made for the inside. I've took up the profile of the inside of the smoke box as well. So that's to clamp it in. Now, the problem I've got, this is why we're having a bit of a rethink and a redesign. I've put a 2.5mm hole down the middle. Now I'm having trouble with my balls because I've only got big balls. unfortunately, where is it? Here it is. I've got this. I've got a couple, well, a few of these. I bought some of these. I can't remember what size these are. These are about 7mm or something. This is on here because I used it to make a seat. I either hit it with something. I don't think I hit it because it wouldn't stand it. I think I used that as a bit of grinding paste to make a seat for another ball. The only other one I've got is a small one, about 5mm, out of the old clack valve. So I was thinking, well, I don't want to go out and buy a load, because you can't just buy one ball, and it wouldn't be very, well, you know, be ridiculous anyway. Oh, that's fell off now. So I thought, well, let's not have a ball then. Let's have a rethink. Now let's see if this works. I'm going to show you this drawing. Hey, there you go. You can see that, can't you? Let's come a bit closer. So here we go. This is the outside bit I've made. This is the inside profile to go through the smoke box, but I've not finished that yet, obviously, because that's still attached. So what I'm going to do is, this is if you like, effectively the nipple connecting the pipe to the fitting, and I've drawn this in here. Now, this I'm going to make out of a piece of stainless steel, I reckon. So it all depends on the sizes. I mean, obviously that's the problem I've got is that this being 5/16 is only just under 8mm, and to get a 5mm ball in there, I want to be drilling a 6mm hole or something, but I haven't got enough meat on there, I don't think, so I want to make it smaller. So that's why I've done it this way, or I'm going to try and do it this way anyway. So I'm going to make that in stainless, and then that's got to slide back, and then somehow I've got to allow the air to come down here and in here. So I can either slot this or make a hole here behind it somehow. Obviously this is all relative. I mean, I've got enough room to pull this down here, and I've got room to pull that back and everything, so who knows what it'll end up as. But I was trying to work out, or trying to think about, how much air, how much gas this needs to pass, so how much of the tolerances. But doing my research, some people express the opinion that you don't even need a snifter valve. So, and they don't even fit one. So that suggests to me that the tolerances are, the allowance is anywhere between nothing and something, because there's no specific. So if it doesn't work at all, then so what, it doesn't work. And if it does work, it'll pass air and it'll work. So I'm not too concerned about it, but obviously I've got to play with it as I do it. So I reckon the hole drilled up there, I don't want to go any bigger than 5.5mm. So then I'm going to scale all this down to fit if I can. So the first thing I'm going to do is try and make this bit, because I can have a few attempts at this. This is not a problem, but I'll try and get this nicely polished and sorted first. Okay, so that's what's happening. Right, progress so far. Obviously that's the drawing. This is what I've ended up doing. Let me see if I can get in close. Whoa, look at that. Don't know if you can see, but I've actually drilled 4 little holes around there. They're 1.5mm. Ah, gone. Focus is gone all over the place. So anyway, yeah. So there's obviously there's the plunger. Now it's too, you can see there, that tube is too long. But in trying to get the dimensions, I've actually made it too long. So I've got to try and shorten it just a couple of mil. But that tube is quite flimsy because it's not got very thick walls. So I might make a mess of it cutting it. Like I said, that's my first attempt. So if I do make a mess of it, I'll just make another one. Yeah, and then the obviously the pipe will go in here. And then I've got to drill, where are we? To drill in there. That diameter there is about 5mm. I'll measure it anyway. So I've got to drill the depth, that depth, 5mm in there, and we should have a valve. Because that is actually 18, I've already measured that, from there to there is about 18mm. And I know there's not enough in there to do that. Right, look at this then. That's that. So it goes like that. Here's the valve that goes in there. And I've tested it, and if I blow through one side, it's more resistance than if I blow through the other. So I reckon that's just about working. Obviously it goes in there, and I've got to fit it, etc. to the thing. Now look at this. Put them aside, seen them before. Right, watch this then, look. And it goes like that into the smoke box, and look at that. How the bloody hell am I going to get that nut and that washer on there? Bloody hell is all I can say. So back to the drawing board again, isn't it? Sod it. So I'm going to have to make a big lump or something to go in there and mount that. Oh, I don't know. It's what we do it for, isn't it, though? So we tell ourselves, I think. I'm going to go and get a drink, though. That's what I'm going to do. Thank you. Right, here's a couple of things. I've decided that this camera, this phone won't focus. Go on, focus. There you go. Right, that little thing there for the outside of my snifter valve, I'm going to make it again. Because it doesn't quite fit. This, it doesn't quite fit somehow. I've obviously made it wrong. The inside of that is only 9mm, that's 9.5, and it won't fit. I could make it fit, but for what it is, I'm going to do it again. It should be okay. I mean, it's going to be fine because the boring head is still set to the right diameter to get that, to make that. So I'm going to do that. Also, these have come, look. These dial indicators, look, from Temu. And I'll show you these. Oh, there's a plastic bag. I don't know what got's in there. But, yeah, nice little thing, look. Works a treat. And you get two of these, different diameters. And you slide them on, like so. And then tighten it up. There you go. And there's a smaller one in there. So I'll put that one aside. And then this one is the bigger one. And this one looks okay. I've seen some reviews that say that the ring can be a bit stiff, which it is. But I'm going to put a spot of silicone in the back of here. Silicone lubricant. To try and ease that up a bit. Just a suggestion of it. And it works fine. Looks rather well. But, and there's always a but, look. I cannot believe that this is plastic. This backing plate and this mount are plastic. Unbelievable. Why would you make them in plastic? It's almost a toy. I mean, in this, what I mean is in this garage, it's now winter, it'll be down to minus temperatures. And in the summer, it'll be plus 30, 40 degrees in here. Plastic's no good for that. And it moves a lot. I can move it. It's a precision instrument, but I can move it with my hands. I mean, it's unbelievable. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to send it back. What I'm going to do is, as my mate would say, it's engineering, make one. So I'm going to make a new plate for that in steel. That is, I can't believe that. I mean, it's cheap and there's ridiculous, isn't there? I mean, you get what you pay for. It's only £7, but, you know, it's unbelievable. Hey, it's Christmas Eve 2024. And I'm just packing up because I've had enough. It's 5:30 now. I've done enough today. I've done this. I'm quite chuffed with this. Look. Hey, looks like somebody else did it. Yeah, dead chuffed with that. Good news is it fits in there. I can get the washer in there. I won't show you now, but it will go in there. The washer and the nut will go in there. What I've got to do next is I'm going to put that little valve in there. I'm going to drill a hole in this piece of wood and push that into there because that will go down there. And I'm going to put some grinding paste on it and I'm going to polish up the surfaces in there with the grinding paste. So fit that to that, if you get what I mean. So it's a good fit. So I'm going to do that either tomorrow, Christmas Day. I've got a couple of hours in the morning before we go out. I don't normally do this, showing a process, but I made an exception. There's me valve, look. That's my little valve piece. It's in a piece of wood. That's just a piece of doweling I had, and I've drilled the end, fitted that. Now what I've got now is some Holt's fine grain grinding paste that's hardly ever been used. So get a little dab, put that on the end of there like that, and then here we go. And then make, what have I got to do then? Oh, then I've still got to make a nut and solder the pipe into there. Yeah, coming on. Right, I think a bit of a review, because I'm just about finished it now. Apart from soldering that to the pipe, it's done. So, compared to my original drawing, this, for instance, the main body, has got there, it shows one step. There is actually another step. There's another radius there. So there's another radius sort of there, and then there are 4 holes going through there. What I'm going to do, I used to be in the construction industry where I used to draw, and we used to do drawings for approval, which is what this would be, and then as-builts. So you get another drawing at the end to show you exactly what was built, and it had to be signed off before you get paid. But anyway, we're not getting paid for this. So that's that. It's got holes in there. And these I originally drilled at 1.5 mil, but I've opened them out to 2 mil because I was blowing through it, and I thought that's, there's a bit of resistance there. I thought I'll increase that. So it feels a lot better at 2 mil. And obviously a lot more air moves through. That, I've polished that. I'll show you how I polish that. And then the front here, I'm dead chuffed with how this has turned out, to be honest. And what I did was, this is the first one I made, and I decided to make it again because this radius in here wasn't right. So I thought, well, hang on a minute. When I do it again, I want to get this rounded, or at least shaped. So I went back to the drawing, and I did a very temporary drawing and messed around with it because I can. You could have done it freehand anyway. But I took this as 12 mil. You can do it radius or diameter. This was a 12 mil diameter. All right, so that's 6. This inside was about 6 mil diameter, and it sticks out. I worked out that it sticks out about 5 mil from the back of there or whatever. So then I worked out this angle, and it turned out to be 21 degrees, about 21 degrees or 20 degrees. So when I parted this new one off, that's what I did. I went in parting it because I made the back first with the wavy bit, obviously, cut another wavy bit to fit the outside of the smoke box. So I had to part it off at the back end. So I parted it off at 21 degrees, and that gave me a good start. And then I put the bolt on it, put the nut on it and the washer, stuck it back in the lathe, and very, very carefully, because I didn't grip it hard, very carefully spun it round. And I actually used, did I? Yes, I actually used me little Dremel type tool. First of all I used a glass paper one for a start, and then I used a little flat wheel to shape it and polish it. But anyway, that's come up really good. Look, I'll show you again. Focus. Lovely. So what am I going to do now is, as before, I've got to solder that on there, but I've got to do a trial fit with the smoke box and the superheater and everything, because obviously I realise that I'm going to have to put it all together when the smoke box bolted down, and also machine away the saddle to take this radius to fit that. And what else was I going to do? Go and have a cup of tea. I was lucky with this. This is a remnant from some of the spares I had. All I had to do was to drill it out and rethread it, because it was just the right size. So that saved me doing that. So let's go and get on with it then.